Welcome back. As we promised, we are going to cover the Arab Summit, which was hosted by Iraq yesterday, and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi was keen to attend the 34th ordinary session of the summit and addressed the gathering, tackling the Egyptian stances regarding the current situation and the challenges which are facing the Arab world. Well, to shed more light on the event, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone Dr. Hassan Wageeh, Professor of International Relations. Thank you very much for being with us, sir, and a very good morning.
Good morning to you.
Sir, as I said, it was the 34th ordinary session of the Arab Summit, and it was also followed by another economic and social development summit, also hosted by the Iraqi capital, Baghdad. But let me first shed more light on the first summit, which is the Arab Summit, which was attended by the President, and he addressed the gathering. And in fact, he was keen to mention the Palestinian cause as topping the agenda of the challenges that are facing the Arab world, with the massacres, with the catastrophic situation which is taking place in Palestine and particularly in Gaza. I don't think it's only mentioning the Palestinian cause, but it's reminding us and reminding the whole world that Palestine and the Palestinian cause is going to remain our first priority when it comes to the Arab world or the Arabic arena in general. If you want to elaborate on that.
Yes, the President's statement was very clear and very informative about the situation, and he mentioned that, of course, if even there are some sort of normalization processes between Israel and other Arab countries, no, will never solve the problem. The problem could be solved only by the existence of two-state solution, according to international resolutions and according to the fairness principles.
Yeah, and he also mentioned that Egypt, or renewed, to be accurate, the Egyptian stance regarding the whole issue, working with other mediators to reach a ceasefire, and there is also a call for the international community to press Israel, and particularly to American President Donald Trump, to press Israel at least to end this blockade and to enter the humanitarian aid to the Palestinians without conditions.
Yes, of course. This is a very important statement also, and also the President was very keen to mobilize the international community. His speech was geared towards the Arab states, and but within this summit. But again, what is more important is that his voice is clear for the international community. And by the way, it is not only a statement. Egypt has exerted a great deal of efforts, diplomatic efforts, and he reminded the entire world with the summits conducted before, the resolutions that the Arab gathering came up with. And I think that, yes, the time is right and very important for the international community to come and to put the required pressure to stop these massacres and this genocidal war. And I think that also the General Secretary of the United Nations was there in that conference.
Yeah, we are going to go to that, to the guests. But before going to this, if you permit me, Dr. Hassan, I'd like also to mention or to underline the statements which were released by the President when he also renewed the Egyptian stance of full rejection of the Palestinian displacement, whether inside or outside their territories, particularly after those controversial statements which were released by American President Donald Trump while he was here in the Middle East in his visit, which took him to a number of Gulf states.
Yes, of course, and this is what the summit came up with. The statements which ended everything is telling the entire world that the entire Arab world and the entire UN resolutions and all that jazz. Yes, there shouldn't be displacement. We are against displacement, and we are working to prevent it as much as we can, because according to the fairness problem, according to peace based on justice, according to stability, according to sustainable development for the entire area. And I think that also the president called for Donald Trump to play a role, as he did in the previous ceasefire, to come up with some efforts to help in getting the whole thing settled and to de-escalate the situation.
Yeah, amen to that. And as you mentioned, Dr. Hassan, there were two important guests. Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, and Pedro Sanchez, the Spanish Prime Minister. Pedro Sanchez is one of the harshest, if I may call it this way, European leaders criticizing Israel over the massacres and the barbaric assaults on the civilians, and also with the admission of Spain to Palestine as a state last year. This is another issue. And as for the UN Secretary General, he said that we need a ceasefire now. How do you see the speech of both Western guests in this summit, and in the first place to invite them to attend the summit and to have their visions among the Arab leaders?
I think that was a very good move, and actually it is not only a good move on the part of the organization of the summit, but it's a good move that comes from within a free conscious, a humanistic attitude that really motivated these two great figures to attend. And I think that they represent a good deal of message when you are talking about the General Secretary of the United Nations, which has 190, more than 190 countries, and he was talking out of what of the previous resolutions that were issued by the United Nations, and when it comes to Spain, the same thing. Spain plays a very important role in Europe. And the leader of Spain really was very courageous enough to take several actions, criticizing what's happening, this very humanistic attitude.
Yes, sir. And also yesterday, Iraq, or the Iraqi capital, Baghdad, hosted another conference, which is the Economic and Social Development Summit, also attended by representatives of the Arab world. And on behalf of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, Dr. Rania al-Mashat, Minister of Planning and International Cooperation, addressed the gathering, and in her speech, she renewed the Egyptian stance regarding full support to economic integration and to boost whether it's food security, the files of refugees, the reconstruction of the countries which were suffering, unfortunately, conflicts or wars, all that. How do you see also in the very same day holding another summit regarding the development issues and the challenges facing the sustainable development goals in the Arab world?
Yes, that was a very good move, actually, and very informative statements came up with from that gathering. You know, when we are talking about economy with capital E is the most important element in getting the whole thing to be achieved in the right direction. And I think that one of the most important things here is that, you know, even when you are talking about the Palestinian situation, which is very dangerous situation, when you are talking about countries like Sudan, like like Sudan, like other countries,
like Yemen,
Yemen, yes, we need what we call it getting back to the track situation, and I think that the Arab Summit is very important here to mobilize also resources and to be ready to help out in that direction.
This is going to take us to many initiatives which were launched yesterday, whether by the Iraqi side or the Iraqi Prime Minister, who was presiding over the conference, when he said that there should be an Arab fund for the reconstruction of some Arab countries which were, as I said, suffering conflicts or struggles. And he said that he is going, or Iraq is going to put $20 million for Lebanon, and this was only an example, and other $20 million for Sudan. And the president, our president, said that we are going to implement on the ground the adopted Arab plan for the reconstruction of Gaza once the Israeli war machine stops. How do you see these initiatives, or at least these suggestions?
Yes, there were good several initiatives that the summit came up with, and I think that it is very important to be ready. You know, because when you are talking about statements only, this is not good enough. The good enough thing is to be ready to implement as soon as time is ripe for that, and I think that was a very good move.
Yeah. This was the 5th edition of this Social and Economic Development Summit, and we witnessed yesterday the speeches of representatives of many countries: Sudan, Lebanon, Palestine, of course Egypt, Algeria, Mauritania, Sudan, and they all agreed that a full economic integration, it's not a luxury anymore, it's a must. And among the goals which should be targeted to narrow the gap among our countries and to raise the volume of intra-Arab trade, because it's only from 8 to 13%, something like that, in comparison to the volume of trade between the Arabs and the Western or the rest of the world. How do you see also these topics as some topics which were in the agenda of talks?
Yes, this is very important point.
Hello?
By the way. Hello? Yes, you listen to me? Hello?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I hear you. You
Okay.
hear me?
Yes, sure.
Yes.
Sir, I don't know if you heard my question.
Yeah, please say it again.
I was saying that many representatives representing the whole Arab world, Sudan, Algeria, Mauritania, Djibouti, Egypt, of course Iraq, Lebanon, they had their speeches, and they all agreed on the importance of let's say, establishment of joint Arab action to achieve economic integration. How do you see the world economic integration as one of the main goals, or on top of the agenda of talks?
You know, when I teach my courses in negotiation, I say that when it comes to this, that there should be trust. Trust is the key word, and you have calculus-based trust, and you have behavioral-based trust, and you have identification trust. You know, if the Arab world is getting into calculus-based trust, that you trust your calculation, the calculation should be there, and then you go to the behavioral one according to the situation in each country, you will reach identification ground easily. But when we are in the Arab world, insist on having identification ground without the other two types of trust that I mentioned, this always does not work out. What would work out? Start with calculus-based, trust your calculations. Each country could integrate the other country in particular area. Then the behavioral trust should be there. Then we will come easier, in an easier way, to the identification-based trust, which would make us like European Union And that was the story of the European Union, by the way.
Yeah.
We didn't start by identification.
Narrowing the
We
gaps among states and
Yes.
to make sure that we do achieve on the ground the fruitful cooperation. Is this what you're saying, sir?
Yes, that's what I meant, and we need a lot of details to go through these three types of trust to come to implementation, a real strong implementation of a real desire in the Arab world, an important agenda in the Arab world. We should be one bloc. We should be integrating. We should be. We should stand on other rules and other ways of behavior, because this means power. When you have the power, your voice could be heard far more better.
And when you have unity, there is power. But, sir, also the summit or the conference yesterday spoke in specific about some elements or some files which we should focus on. And they started with food security, with AI, for example, artificial intelligence, technology transfer, blue economy, taking into consideration that developing our infrastructure is a must, it's not a luxury anymore. How do you see these pillars, sir?
Yes, I think these pillars are very important, but let me put at the top of them the AI. AI, we are witnessing in the world a revolution, if not revolution, when it comes to AI. And it needs a regulation, you know, because there is a very important debate in the entire world about it. In what way you can use AI and spend all this money on its projects, huge amount of money, where that would lead us to, and some other futuristic circles in the world are saying that, you know, AI consumes a lot of money, a lot of water, by the way. They said that AI is competing with human needs when it comes to water consumption. And they would raise a question, should we go with these crazy waves for enhancing AI, and the big technology companies are behind that? Or should we regulate that and try to see, some people now are talking about AI as, yes, artificial intelligence, but some other people say it could be atheist intelligence. It could be, there is a great spread. It gets into the rooms of our children. It gets into the room of our houses, and why ChatGPT, for instance, is giving his number to say, I'd like to be your assistant, I'd like to be, which is very good, but what is the end point of all of this? We have to contemplate on that in the Arab world and to see in what way we can spend money on this, or in what direction this would take us and will take the world. I think this is a very great debate being launched in the world, and I think that it is right to say, not to say I'm going to invest in AI, but let's say how could we do that, in what way, where is the end point of that, and we should share what's happening in the futuristic circles regarding the debate before we take decisions in that important and very dangerous situation that really threatens so many things in the world and the future of humanity.
Dr. Hassan Wageeh, thank you very much for your input, sir, and have a very good day. Right after the short break, we are going to return back with more, so stay tuned.